I know that the ones who love us will miss us.
What if I told you that one of the most respected men in Hollywood has been living in pain for most of his life? What if I told you that at 60 years old, after shattering his kneecap, he returned to work just 3 days later? No headlines. No complaints. No excuses. But nobody knows the truth because behind the quiet strength of Keanu Reeves is a story of loss, survival, and something far deeper. And what he's doing now is something no one saw coming. Today, Keanu Reeves is seen as a legend, a man respected not just for his movies, but for who he is: B-roll, action scenes, red carpet appearances, fan interactions. Even now, he performs intense stunts, trains for hours, pushes his body beyond limits. But what fans don't see is the damage, years of injuries. Surgeries. Pain that never fully left, and still, he shows up. But then something unusual started happening. Fake profiles, scammers using his identity, people pretending to be him online. Fans were getting hurt, losing money. Losing trust, and instead of ignoring it, he stepped in, spending thousands every month just to protect people he doesn't even know. Why? To understand that, you have to go back. Keanu Reeves was born into a life that was never stable. B-roll, childhood photos, moving cities, empty streets, different cities. Different homes. But one thing remained the same: absence. His father disappeared when he was just a child. No closure. No explanation. Just gone. And that silence stayed with him. His mother tried to rebuild life, but nothing lasted. New relationships. New environments. No sense of home. At school, things were even harder. Dyslexia made learning difficult. He struggled to read, struggled to keep up, felt different, felt alone. He was expelled, moved again, started over until he stopped trying. But then he found acting not as a dream, but as an escape, a way to survive, a way to become someone else. But just when things started changing, something happened. In 1999, his world collapsed. His child was lost before birth. B-roll, emotional visuals, silence, empty space, no warning. No time to prepare. Just pain. And before he could recover, another tragedy followed. His partner, gone in a sudden accident. Just like that, everything disappeared, and something inside him changed forever. He stepped away from everything, turned down major roles, avoided the spotlight. But the real truth is, he didn't stop. He endured. Even as his body started breaking down, injuries kept coming, spinal issues, broken bones. Chronic pain. During major films, he was already suffering, but he never said anything. He trained anyway, performed anyway, because quitting was never an option. B-roll, intense training, fight choreography, slow motion scenes, and when success came, he did something unexpected. He gave away millions. To crew members. To people behind the scenes. No announcements. No recognition. Just quiet choices. At the same time, he was helping his family, standing beside his sister during a long battle with illness, spending everything he had just to keep her alive, and still, he kept going. Today, his life is different. B-roll, calm lifestyle, walking alone, simple moments, no noise. No luxury display. Just simplicity. He works, he trains, he lives quietly. But something has changed. He's no longer chasing success. He's choosing purpose, helping others, protecting fans, staying grounded. And even now, new challenges are coming. New roles. New chapters. But this time, it feels different because after everything, he's still here, still standing, still moving forward. He lost people he loved. He lost parts of himself, but he never lost his direction. And maybe that's why people don't just admire him, they respect him. But here's the question: do you think Keanu Reeves deserves this level of fame? Or is he something much greater than what Hollywood sees? But the story doesn't end there, because just when people thought they understood him, something even more unexpected began to happen. B-roll, dark screen, slow fade into action scenes. During the filming of intense action sequences, his body started giving signals: pain in the spine, limited movement, moments where even standing became difficult, but he ignored it. Not because he didn't feel it, but because he refused to stop. Doctors warned him, slow down, take a break, but he didn't listen. Because for him, stopping meant facing everything he had been running from. And then another moment came, one that could have ended everything. During a dangerous stunt, his body took a heavy hit, the kind that most actors would never recover from. But 3 days later, he was back. Same set. Same energy. Like nothing happened. B-roll, intense stunt scenes. Slow motion impact. The crew was shocked. No one understood how he kept going. But the real truth is, this wasn't new for him. Pain had become normal. Silence had become strength. And hiding it had become a habit. But something else was happening behind the scenes. Something far more dangerous. His identity was being stolen. I generated videos, fake voices, fake messages. People believed they were talking to him. Some trusted those messages and lost everything. Money, hope, security. And this time, he couldn't stay silent. So he did something no one expected. He started fighting back, spending thousands every month, tracking fake accounts, shutting them down, protecting people he had never even met. B-roll, digital screens, fake profiles, scrolling messages because he knew what loss felt like. And he didn't want anyone else to go through it. But even with all this, he never changed. No anger. No public outrage. Just quiet action. And then, in a move that surprised everyone, he stepped into something completely different, the stage. Live performance. No cuts. No retakes. Just him and the audience. 8 shows a week. Even with pain in his knees, even with years of physical damage, he showed up every night. Because for him, it was never about comfort. It was about commitment. B-roll, theater stage lights. Audience applause. Critics praised him. Fans admired him. But behind the curtain, the struggle was still there. And yet, he kept going because that's who he is. Not someone who avoids pain, but someone who walks through it. And now, the future stands in front of him. New films, new roles, possibly even bigger challenges, but this time, it feels like something more. Not just work, not just success, but purpose. Because after everything, he's still choosing to move forward, still choosing to show up, still choosing to fight in his own quiet way, and maybe that's what makes his story different. Not the fame, not the success, but the strength to continue when everything says stop. So now the question becomes, what happens next? Will he finally slow down, or will he keep pushing until there's nothing left to give? And more importantly, how much of this has he still not told the world? But even now, there are parts of his life that remain completely hidden. B-roll, slow zoom, dark tones, quiet moments. Because the truth is, Keanu Reeves never fully lets people in. Not the media, not the public, not even the industry. He listens more than he speaks. He observes more than he reacts. And maybe that's why no one really knows how much he's still carrying, because behind the calm, there's history, years of pressure, years of silence, years of pushing forward without stopping. And the scary part is, he never asks for help. He just keeps going. But then something changed, something small, but powerful. He started letting people see a different side. Not the action hero. Not the untouchable star. Just a man. B-roll, soft, candid moments, genuine smiles, someone who laughs quietly, someone who enjoys simple things, someone who doesn't need attention to feel complete. And for the first time, it felt real. Not a performance, not a role. Just him. But even in those moments, the question remains, how much of it is peace and how much of it is healing? Because healing doesn't happen overnight. And for someone who has gone through so much, it may never fully happen. And yet, he keeps moving forward, still working, still showing up, still giving everything he has, even when no one asks him to, even when he could easily walk away. But he doesn't, because maybe this is his way of dealing with everything. Not by stopping, but by continuing. Not by speaking, but by doing. And that's what makes his story so different. No loud statements, No dramatic explanations, just actions, consistent, quiet, unbreakable, B-roll, walking alone, slow-motion city shots, and now. As time moves forward, his story is still being written. Not finished, not complete, still evolving. And maybe the most important chapter hasn't even happened yet, because sometimes the strongest people are the ones still fighting battles no one can see. So now, the real question is, will Keanu Reeves ever truly stop, or will he continue walking this path? No matter the cost, but even after everything, there was still more pressure, more expectations, more weight on his shoulders, B-roll, flashing cameras, crowded premieres, intense media clips, because once you reach a certain level of fame, you don't belong to yourself anymore. Every move is watched. Every silence is questioned. And for someone like Keanu Reeves, that attention was never comfortable. He didn't chase fame. Fame followed him. And sometimes it followed too closely. There were moments when fans crossed boundaries, moments when privacy disappeared completely. People waiting outside his home, people creating stories that were never true, and yet, he never reacted. No anger. No public statements. Just distance. Because deep down, he understood something most people don't, that attention is temporary, but peace is something you have to protect. But then something unexpected happened. A quiet shift, B-roll, calm music, softer visuals. Nature shots. He started slowing down, not in work, but in life, choosing moments carefully, spending time away from noise, focusing on things that actually mattered. And for the first time, people started noticing it, not the action star, but the human being behind it. The man who sits alone at cafes. The man who rides his motorcycle through empty roads. No security, no spotlight, just silence, and maybe that silence is where he finally found something: balance. But balance doesn't erase the past, and the past always finds a way back. B-roll, faded memories, old film clips. Every role he plays carries a piece of his story. Every intense scene, every emotional moment feels real because it is real. He's not acting pain, he's remembering it. And that's why his performances feel different, because they come from somewhere deeper, somewhere most people never see. And then came another realization, something that changed his perspective completely. He didn't need to prove anything anymore. Not to critics, not to Hollywood, not even to himself. He had already done it all. Success, failure, loss, survival, everything. So what was left? Purpose. B-roll, charity work, quiet helping moments, subtle giving, helping people without attention, giving without expecting recognition, living without needing validation. And that's when his life truly changed, because when you stop chasing, you start understanding. But even with that clarity, his body kept reminding him of everything it had been through. Old injuries returning, pain becoming constant. Some days harder than others, but still, he showed up. Because for him, pain was never a reason to stop. It was just something to carry. And now, the industry looks at him differently. Not just as an actor, but as something rare, someone who stayed real in a world built on illusion. B-roll, industry clips, interviews, respectful nods. Directors trust him. Fans respect him. Even critics admire him, because people can feel it. He's not pretending. He's just being. And as the years move forward, his journey becomes even more powerful. Not because of what he achieves, but because of how he lives, quietly, honestly, without noise, still choosing to work, still choosing to grow, even when he doesn't have to. And maybe that's the most surprising part of all. He could walk away anytime, live in comfort, disappear completely, but he doesn't, because something inside him still pushes forward, still wants to create, still wants to connect, still wants to live fully, despite everything. B-roll, slow motion walking shot, sunset background. So what does the future hold? More films, more challenges, more quiet moments no one really knows, because with Keanu Reeves, nothing is predictable. And maybe that's what makes his story so powerful. Not the fame, not the success, but the mystery, the silence, the strength, to keep going without needing to explain why. And as his journey continues, one thing becomes clear: he was never just another celebrity, he was always something more. Something deeper, something real. So now, after everything you've seen, everything you've heard, here's the final question. Do you think Keanu Reeves is just a Hollywood star, or is he something far beyond that? And even now, there's still another layer to his story, one that most people completely miss. B-roll, city nights, slow motion crowds, distant lights, because while the world sees strength, there are moments when even he feels the weight of everything. The silence, the memories, the losses that never fully fade, they don't disappear, they just become quieter. And sometimes that quiet becomes heavy. There are nights when the noise of the world fades away, and all that's left is thought, B-roll, empty streets, dim lighting, reflective mood, thinking about the past, thinking about what was lost, moments that can't be changed, people who can't come back. And no matter how strong someone is, those moments always stay. But here's what makes him different. He doesn't run from it. He doesn't distract himself endlessly. He sits with it. He accepts it, and then he keeps moving, because for him, life isn't about escaping pain. It's about learning how to carry it without letting it destroy you, without letting it define you. And that mindset is what built him. Not fame, not success, but resilience. And maybe that's why people feel something different about him. Not just admiration, but connection, because his story feels real. Not perfect, not polished. Just human. B-roll, fans smiling, quiet interactions, genuine moments. People don't just watch his movies, they trust him. They see honesty. They see someone who understands struggle without needing to talk about it constantly. And in a world full of noise, that kind of quiet truth stands out. But even with that connection, he still protects his space. Still keeps parts of himself hidden. Because not everything needs to be shared. Not everything needs to be explained. And maybe that's his greatest strength, knowing what to give and what to keep. As time moves forward, his pace may change, his roles may evolve, but one thing stays the same: his mindset. Keep going. No matter what. B-roll, walking into distance, slow fade, because at the end of the day, it was never about being the biggest star. It was never about being perfect. It was about surviving without losing who you are. And somehow, through everything, he did exactly that. So now, as his story continues, as new chapters begin, as new challenges appear, one question still remains: will Keanu Reeves ever choose to slow down, or will he keep moving forward, no matter how much it takes from him? And maybe the most surprising part of his story is what he never says out loud. B-roll, quiet close-up, soft lighting, reflective expression, because in a world where celebrities explain everything, where every feeling becomes content, he chooses silence. Not because he has nothing to say, but because some things are too real to be spoken. There are lessons in his life that don't come from interviews, but from actions. How he treats people, how he handles loss, how he continues without needing attention. And maybe that's why his story feels different. It's not loud. It doesn't demand to be heard. It just exists. Honestly, B-roll, candid. Fan moments, simple gestures, kindness clips, a handshake, a quiet smile, a moment of respect. Small things, but they leave a lasting impact because they're real, not scripted. Not planned. Just who he is. But even with all this, there's still a question that lingers. What does it actually cost to live like this? To carry pain quietly, to keep moving without stopping, to never let the world see you break, because strength comes at a price. And sometimes that price is everything. B-roll, slow fade. Deep tones, years of pushing forward, years of holding everything inside. It changes a person, even if the world doesn't see it, even if the world only sees the calm surface. And yet, he continues, not because it's easy, but because it's who he has become. Someone who doesn't stop, someone who doesn't quit, someone who doesn't need recognition to keep going. Maybe that's the real reason people respect him so much. Not because he's perfect, but because he's consistent. In a world full of change, he stayed the same. And now, as everything keeps moving forward, as time keeps passing, as new generations discover his story, one thing becomes clear: he was never just acting, he was living. Through every role, through every scene, through every moment, he was showing pieces of himself. Without ever saying it directly, B-roll. Montage of roles, emotional scenes, fading transitions, and maybe that's why his performances feel so real, because they are not just stories, but reflections. So now, after everything, after all the success, all the loss, all the silence, we're left with one final thought. Is Keanu Reeves strong because he hides his pain, or is he strong because he continues, despite it? And even after all of that, there's still one thing no one can fully explain: why he never changed. B-roll. Old versus new footage. Same calm expression. Fame usually changes people. Money changes people. Power changes people. But not him. Decades in the spotlight and still the same quiet energy. Still the same simple lifestyle. Still the same man walking through a world that never slowed down, because the truth is, he never let Hollywood define him. He never let success control him. And he never let pain destroy him. He just kept going. B-roll. Walking through crowds. Unnoticed moments while others chased attention, he avoided it. While others built an image, he stayed real. And in doing that, he became something rare, not just respected, but trusted. But there's something deeper here, something most people miss. He doesn't hold on, not to fame, not to money. Not even to the past, because holding on means reliving everything. And for someone who's been through so much, letting go is the only way forward. B-roll. Empty road. Long walk, horizon, and maybe that's why he keeps moving, always forward. Never stuck. Never looking back for too long, but even then, there are questions that remain unanswered. What does he truly feel when he's alone? What thoughts come back in the quiet? What memories never leave? Because no matter how strong someone appears, there are always moments when everything feels heavy. And yet, he doesn't stop. Not for sympathy. Not for attention. Just because that's who he is. B-roll. Slow motion. Soft music. Build a man shaped by loss, refined by struggle, and defined by resilience. Not perfect, not untouched, but unbroken. And now, as his journey continues, as time moves forward, as the world keeps watching, one thing becomes certain: he's not chasing anything anymore. Not fame. Not validation. Just meaning, because in the end, that's all that really matters. Not what you achieve, but how you live through it. And Keanu Reeves lived through everything. So now, after everything you've seen, everything you've heard, everything he's never said, one final question remains. Do you think Keanu Reeves is still carrying more than we'll ever know, or has he finally found the peace he was always searching for? And maybe that's the real story of Keanu Reeves. Not the fame, not the success, not the legend, but the man who kept going when everything told him to stop. A man who lost and still chose to live, who broke but never let the world see it, who suffered